We begin CBS2 News at 5 with breaking news from Simi Valley. A crossing guard was killed on the job. It happened on the corner of Socrates and Los Angeles Avenues. Simi Valley police say there was a crash involving 3 cars.
Then one of those cars struck the crossing guard. The woman was taken to a hospital. She did not make it. She was pronounced dead at the hospital. The crossing guard was 62 years old. And now more breaking news, this time in West LA, where somebody shot out the window of a bus right in the middle of the 10 freeway.
And CBS 2's Jeff Nguyen is live on the scene as detectives try to track down who did it. Jeff.
Well, Pat and Jeff, right behind us is the northbound 405 freeway, and although traffic is flowing very slowly right now, at least all of the lanes have reopened. This after a charter bus was hit by gunfire. Let's go ahead and roll some video to show you what we mean. Now, this is the bus involved. You can see that one of the windows is shot out. The California Highway Patrol says that it happened as the bus was going west on the 10 freeway this afternoon. As it got to the Washington Fairfax off-ramp, passengers noticed that the window has shattered. They also say they heard shots fired. Now, that led the driver to stop the bus on the transition road between the 10 West and the northbound 405. Police say that a young woman suffered minor injuries. She and a friend have been taken to UCLA Medical Center. 32 other people were on the bus. They have been transported to another bus to go to where they were planning to go. Police say that they had to shut down traffic on the 10 freeway near Washington and Fairfax to sweep the area for evidence.
We already shut down the freeway going in the westbound direction from Fairfax, Washington to National Boulevard. Our officers swept and walked the freeway to no avail. Nothing was found on the freeway, though.
And at this point, police say that the bus was shot out. However, they have not been able to locate the bullet involved. So right now, what they are hoping for is that for anyone who may have witnessed what happened to come forward. Right now, the CHP is investigating this, and they would like to hear from you. Again, the shots were fired around Washington Boulevard on the westbound 10 freeway. For now, we are reporting live from West LA. Jeff Nguyen, CBS 2 News.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Now breaking news in Bellflower. A car slammed into the Value Inn Hotel on Alondra Boulevard. 4 people were rushed to a hospital. Firefighters had to cut the driver out of the car. The crash is under investigation.
The feds have busted an Orange County doctor accused of doling out illegal prescriptions. That doctor is now behind bars on suspicion of drug trafficking.
And we are learning about his reported connection to the borderline bar shooter and the death of a local fire captain. CBS 2 Orange County reporter Michelle Gili is live in Santa Ana with details. Michelle.
That is right. Zung Pham's federal court hearing was continued until tomorrow. According to the U.S. attorney, this doctor flooded Southern California with opioids and dangerous narcotics that eventually were sold on the streets. Drug enforcement agents say they surprised Irvine doctor Zung Pham at his Orange County home this morning, arresting the 57-year-old and seizing dozens of guns. The raid went down in Tustin. 31 rifles and 27 pistols were hauled away from the doctor's home, according to federal officials. And there's a connection, authorities say, between Zung Pham, his drug prescriptions, and the man allegedly behind the borderline bar shooting. It also extends, according to officials, to the suspect in a Costa Mesa fire captain's death. Mike Kreza's alleged killer was under the influence of drugs at the time, prosecutors claim, and he
told investigators that he was on medications prescribed by this doctor. And in his car at the time of the collision, they found pill bottles that had this doctor's name on them.
Zung Pham was in federal court late today. The doctor would see patients here at Irvine Village Urgent Care, which was also raided. According to the federal affidavit, 5 victims have overdosed and died, who were also receiving and filling prescriptions from Pham from 2014 to 2017. Quote, from September 13th, 2018 to October 2nd, 2018, over 100 different patients texted Pham to refill their prescriptions, oftentimes dictating to Pham what they wanted. At least 84 of those patients had their prescriptions filled on the same day or within the next 2 days. Agents say they have this text message about the borderline mass shooting that was sent by Dr. Pham. Quote, one of my patient just told me, it reads, that the Thousand Oaks shooter, Ian David Long, had my prescription bottles that belonged to someone else. I never saw Mr. Long before, so I don't know the implication of this information. Dr. Pham will be in federal court again tomorrow. If convicted of drug trafficking, he is looking at a maximum of 40 years in prison. And I should also tell you, according to the U.S. attorney, they did a check of Dr. Pham's bank accounts, and they say he has millions that he made off of this. That's the latest live in Santa Ana. I'm Michelle Geely. Back to you.
Incorporated. We're gonna do it. Give us any chance, we'll take it.
Well, who can forget that show opening tonight? We are remembering Penny Marshall, the famed actress and director shot to stardom in the 1970s in the hit show Laverne and Shirley. Penny Marshall later went on to become one of the most influential directors in Hollywood.
CBS 2's Brittney Hopper has reaction to Marshall's death and more on her incredible career.
Penny Marshall, actress, comedian, and director, was a pioneer in the industry. Her hit show in the late 70s, Laverne and Shirley, became America's most watched show, which ran for 8 seasons and was a spin-off of Happy Days.
I think he wants something, Cheryl.
Marshall paved the way for female directors. She was the first woman to direct a movie that grossed more than $100 million. That movie was Big, starring Tom Hanks. She then went on to direct A League of Their Own, as well as many other big-time movies. In Hollywood, her fans came by her star after hearing about her passing.
It's a sad day in Hollywood.
I mean, I'm in shock. Yeah, she was incredible.
She was part of TV. She was the beginning of TV.
Many of her co-stars and friends have also tweeted their condolences. Her ex-husband, director and producer Rob Reiner, tweeted, "She was born with a funny bone and the instinct of how to use it. I was very lucky to have lived with her and her funny bone. I will miss her." Ron Howard tweeted, "She made the transition from sitcom star to A-list movie director with ease and had a major impact on both mediums."
She leaves behind a daughter and 5 grandchildren. We're told that she died from complications from diabetes. In Hollywood, Brittney Hopper, CBS 2 News.
Well, Laverne and Shirley had those quirky sidekick neighbors, Lenny and Squiggy.
The man who played Lenny, actor Michael McKean, tweeted, "I don't know what to say."
Billy Crystal tweeted, "Sad to hear of Penny Marshall's passing, a great comedian, a terrific director, and a dear friend."
Star Trek star George Takei tweeted, "Penny Marshall brought us great laughter and truly broke new ground as a director. Neither Schlemmel nor even Schlemazel. She shall be missed by her many fans. Rest in peace."
And fellow director Ava DuVernay tweeted, "Thank you, Penny Marshall, for the trails you blazed, the laughs you gave, the hearts you warmed."
We move on to developing news. The Trump administration is banning a tool used in the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history.
We are talking about those bump stocks. They make semi-automatic weapons fire like an automatic weapon.
Get down. Get down.
Investigators say Stephen Paddock used a bump stock during the shooting spree in Las Vegas last year. He killed 58 people and wounded hundreds more at a concert there. Anyone who has bump stocks will now have 90 days to either turn in or destroy them. 2 months ago, President Trump told the National Rifle Association that bump stocks are gone.
Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn was supposed to learn his fate today for lying to the FBI about meeting with a former Russian ambassador.
But his sentencing was delayed after a serious tongue lashing from the judge who brought up the question of treason. CBS 2 political reporter Dave Bryan here with the unexpected and high courtroom drama.
And there's more news actually that just came in, and that is CNN reporting that the judge in this case has ordered that Flynn turn in his passport and remain within 50 miles of Washington, D.C. until this is resolved. It was all set up. Flynn was supposed to plead guilty to his crimes. Special counsel Robert Mueller sent a memo recommending no prison time due to Flynn's substantial cooperation in the Russia probe. Even the president tweeted good luck. Then the judge weighed in, saying things that court insiders say had Flynn shaken and his jaw clenched. Quote, "I cannot assure you if you proceed today, you will not receive a sentence of incarceration. Those stunning words from Judge Emmett Sullivan in a Washington, D.C. courtroom. Many expected former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn to be set free, no jail time, after telling Judge Sullivan he took full responsibility for lying to the FBI about his contact with former Russian ambassador Sergei Kislyak. But the judge gave Flynn a tongue lashing. Quote, "I'm not hiding my disgust, my disdain for this criminal offense. All along, you were an unregistered agent of a foreign country while serving as the National Security Advisor." A statement the judge later admitted was incorrect. Flynn had stopped lobbying once he was named National Security Advisor. The judge continued, quote, "Arguably, that undermines everything that this flag over here stands for. Arguably, you sold your country out." Then Judge Sullivan asked this: could he, meaning Flynn, be charged with treason? Prosecutor Brian Van Glack answered, "It's such a serious question, I'm hesitant to answer it." Van Grack later said he had no reason to believe Flynn committed treason and had no concerns over issues related to treason. Judge Sullivan then gave Flynn the option of delaying his sentence after learning the retired general was still cooperating with Mueller's team. Flynn took him up on his offer.
I think Flynn's lawyers felt that Flynn was going to get jail because the judge felt that this was so serious that notwithstanding the substantial cooperation, he was going to get jail. So they're hoping now for this timeout to delay jail.
Despite President Trump wishing Flynn good luck today on Twitter, the White House seems to be keeping its distance from the former National Security Advisor.
Any actions he engaged in had nothing to do with the president.
So what happens now? Well, we wait. Judge Sullivan wants a status report in 90 days. He set a March meeting to revisit Flynn's sentencing, but he warned he's not making any promises now that he would view the matter differently in 3 months. Pat, back to you.
All right, thank you, Dave. Now, President Trump's charity, the Trump Foundation, is shutting down. That move comes amid a lawsuit filed by the New York Attorney General. She claims the foundation engaged in, quote, a shocking pattern of illegality, and that Trump and his kids used the foundation for personal and political benefit. Under a deal reached today, the foundation will be dissolved and any remaining money donated to other charities.
The White House now says it is willing to work with Congress to avoid a government shutdown. President Trump has been demanding $5 billion to fund his border wall. Democrats don't want to give him any more than about $1.6 billion. Now, Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders says they're looking at other ways to get the money. Sanders says they don't want to shut down the government, just illegal immigration.
And breaking news next here at 5 o'clock. The California farm tied to the E. coli outbreak in romaine lettuce is now recalling more vegetables.
Plus, she was beaten, left for dead, and tonight we have good news about Chloe and her recovery.
And another day of big waves. We're live in Ventura, where the pier was damaged by waves last night.
And here's a live look outside where we still have high clouds floating up above. We are underway for a big warming trend. I'll let you know whether or not the warmer temperatures will stick around for Christmas.